An Introduction to Dual Power Strategy. The great task of grassroots dual power is to seek out and create social spaces and fill them with liberatory institutions and relationships. Where there is room for us to act for ourselves, we form institutions conducive not only to catalyzing revolution, but also to the present conditions of a fulfilling life, including economic and political self-management to the greatest degree achievable. We seek not to seize power, but to seize opportunity vis-à-vis the exercise of our power. There are two dualities at work in the modern strategic concept known as dual power. First, there is the classical notion of the relationship between 1, the current establishment, and 2, the second social infrastructure pitted in opposition to it. Here the status quo consists of a market capitalist economy, an authoritarian republic, patriarchy, adultarchy, Judeo-Christian Eurocentricity, white supremacy, etc. These are the ideologies and institutions which make up the oppressive system according to which our society operates. By necessity, then, our oppositional dual power, our alternative infrastructure, must be based on decentralized socialist economics, a participatory democratic polity, feminist and youthist kinship, and a secular yet spiritual, intercommunal culture. Those will be the building blocks of our new society, and the masonry has already begun. The second duality is between 1, the creative force of forming new social institutions and transforming oppressive ones into liberatory, and 2, resisting or destroying what is useless and oppressive to us in the current establishment. In other words, we need to approach revolutionary social change with constructive and destructive tactics in our toolbox. We cannot build until we make space, but our alternative social infrastructure will not make itself, so we must establish it on the ruins of the old order, in the shadow of that order. Dual power is a relatively generic strategy, as we have seen. Not only is there great contention between the Leninist version of the strategy and the contemporary, grassroots approach, but there are also a number of tendencies within the latter framework. Essentially, the most popular alternative to the strategic outlook detailed in this book is known as libertarian municipalism. To differentiate, without coming up with a snazzy name like that, we'll call this version holistic dual power because a main tenet of the approach is that we need to form alternative and resistance infrastructure in all spheres of social life, where libertarian municipalism only focuses on political dual power, revolutionary conditions. Contemporary Marxists insist that the objective conditions necessary for social revolution exist today in North American societies, and throughout the industrialized world. These conditions, they assert, are the technologically advanced forms of production which place the ability, just not the authority, to meet all people's material needs in the hands of the workers. In other words, if only the workers were to rise up and seize control of the means of production, revolution would be at hand, as they could reorganize allocation and finally do away with the contrived scarcity of material goods and services. The missing element today, Marxists assert, is the subjective condition of revolutionary consciousness. That is, the people need to become revolutionary in mind. Marxist ideology, as disseminated by modern communist parties' self-proclaimed vanguards in a premature state, is the vehicle allegedly capable of instilling this revolutionary consciousness among the masses. Such belief is why contemporary Marxists tend to organize ideologically, spreading propaganda, instead of practically, as in establishing the grassroots organizations necessary for fulfilling the immediate and future needs of the people, including popularized political and economic self-management. For them, dual power comes about when their party establishes the strength and wherewithal to reorganize and run society from the top down. Marxists generally deny the necessity of popular, grassroots organization, precisely because they believe the vanguard method is the path to follow, despite its historical record. At least, they claim, vanguardism has accomplished something, whereas the spontaneous methods attributed to anarchism have gotten us nowhere. Regardless of this claim's inaccuracy, it can be easily exposed as a product of Marxists' basic fear of empowering the masses with more than ideological allegiance to Marxism and the vanguard party of their choosing. The party will provide the necessary leadership to guide the revolution and rebuild society in the wake of insurrection. It is not imperative, then, to build grassroots institutions and form a democratic framework in the pre-insurrectionary period. Nor is it important that the people, seen as masses, develop the skills required to self-manage even one's own life, much less an entire society. For Marxists, dual power structures are limited to the party itself. Everyone else should go about their normal business, while supporting the party and awaiting further orders. Also, we should recognize that present-day projects intended to disseminate information, popularize social critiques or raise consciousness are limited. This is especially true when their thrust is biased towards offering the oversimplified, not to mention dangerous solution of mass alignment with political parties or vanguards. Revolutionary media and propaganda must be intrinsically tied to struggle. Without the practical, day-to-day projects which build toward revolution, in the meantime providing essential living space and protection from the effects of oppression, our propaganda is baseless. It is simply false to claim the solution to our collective woes can be found in turning to elites and leaders as our activism, whatever their ideological persuasion or their power.